Hey everyone, so today is a little different. I'm talking to Shannon Evans. She is so funny, so sweet, such a interesting woman. She has so much talent. And I met her very randomly. She is best friends with Wendy Venturini. Wendy, have to have you on the podcast next. I need to reach out to you because that would be fun. You have so many amazing stories to tell as well. So we were flying home from Sonoma a month ago or whenever that race was. We were flying home and randomly Shannon and it was random that Ty and I were on the plane. It was random that Wendy and Shannon and Bree were on this plane. We were all like gawking over how insane this plane was. Anyway, we talk about that a lot in the episode, but then we met and just kind of had that immediate connection. And it was funny because we were just like gabbing about nothing and just laughing, and she was super funny. And then Wendy goes, by the way, she's very humble. She's on an HGTV show that's about to come out next week. And I was like, wait, what in the world? Tell me more. She is on this season of HGTV's Renovation Resort Showdown. If you haven't watched it, it's one of the coolest concepts for a show. I hadn't heard of it before she had told me about it. Now I've binged the whole thing. It's such a fun concept for a show where they have 4 houses, 4 different groups, and the 4 houses are like just drywall or just like, they're down to the studs. And then these 4 groups come in and they finish it out and they go room for room, and each room's like a competition. So Shannon and Melissa, the 5th episode was just on last night when I'm recording this, and Shannon and her partner Melissa are crushing it, and they're so good. So you have to tune in, you have to watch it. But just hearing her whole story as someone that loves, women that are pursuing their dreams and I love to have these girls on to sort of glorify them and make them feel, sort of fan their flame, make them feel like, they're crushing it, keep going, keep chasing your dreams. And Shannon, when I talked to her, she was that way for me. She immediately was like, tell me about you. Tell me about your hopes and dreams. And so anyway, we talked a lot about manifestation and all these different things on the plane. And then we get to talk today about a lot of that as well. And I got to know her even deeper, and she's just amazing. She seems like the kind of person that you could just sit on your back patio with a glass of wine and die laughing with and then look up and it's been 5 hours and you're like, oh my God, we need to go to bed. Like she's such a fun, sweet person that is very infectious. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode with Shannon. She has inspired me to write down in great detail some different things that I'm trying to manifest in my life. She's inspired me that I really need to get some color in this house, or at least put some pictures on the walls. She's just so much fun, and you got to tune into their show, and cheer them on that we hope they can win this thing. She won't tell me what the outcome is, so I'm very eager to know. Anyway, okay, here is the episode with Shannon Evans.
This is awesome. I'm sorry, are we mirroring? Is this a mirror?
Yeah, gonna be able to tell the difference.
I'm like, okay, wait, is this good?
Oh my gosh. I was like,
Hey, this is so funny.
I am so bummed that I don't have it, but I have almost the exact like pistola suit thing in pink, and I'm like, and it's in my motorhome, and I'm like, dang it, I didn't grab it this weekend. But then I had this. I'm like, well, I'm putting it on. It's
I
the same
literally
exact
never,
color.
I try not to mimic my outfit, but it was funny because I ordered all these clothes from Amazon in pink because I was like, I'm going to start wearing pink whenever I show up so people recognize me.
Yeah.
It's like a brand.
It
Not
is.
even any pink. I'm like,
in the show, you stick out like a sore thumb. Like it's
right.
like, there's Shannon.
That was the intent. I was like, people will always say the girl in the pink, but no one might remember the girl in jeans with a black shirt. Or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like my thing.
It's genius. I mean, of course, like the girl in pink, the girl in the pink jumpsuit, like
I
every
cannot.
time.
What with you?
I
It's
mean,
so good.
I'm gonna order the exact jumpsuit.
You
It's
are?
going to become yes, I need to.
Well, I have
It's
4 of them if you want one.
perfect. Oh my gosh. I loved
Oh.
how you had that photo that you just posted today
Yeah,
of, like, all the ones hanging up, and they have, like, paint on them and stuff, and I was wondering, I'm like, how many jumpsuits did you have
4,
for
4.
4 of them?
One of them stayed on interview set because we would go to interviews off site. Like, they would put us in a van and drive, like, 10 minutes. And it was, like, this beautiful,
Interesting.
like it was called Betawa, but it was, like, this beautiful, like, building. It almost felt like it was in the middle of nowhere, this beautiful building. It still confuses me. Canada's a funny place. But there was, like, a bathroom there, which we used outhouse, like, a porta potty the whole filming, and,
Yeah,
like, very, like, minimal bathroom, like, the quality of bathroom wasn't, like, stellar. So we
yeah.
would get to go to interviews, and I was like, "We can plug in the curling iron. We can look in a mirror." Like, me and Melissa had this little pink mirror inside our workshop, so we could, like, look.
I'm
Just
amazed that you
up.
guys weren't, like, going into the house and using the vanities that you had created, like, "Wait, hold on, let me just touch up real quick."
Right? And we didn't have them for a while. Like, we had to wait until we had something with a mirror.
True, true,
And,
yeah, because you
you
didn't
know?
do is the way that they're
Yes.
depicting it on the show the actual order that you guys went in?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, wow, yeah. I
Yep.
mean, I figured, but you just never
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, it's the same thing that you're seeing. The only difference is it's so much longer. And you probably know this too with filming. Like you sit there and you're like, no, I was actually on that scene for 4 hours and they show like one word, literally like
Yeah,
one word. And I'm like, come on. Like, but then at the same time, you're like, what are you gonna expect? Like it's an
yeah,
hour show. You just get what
yes.
you
But it's crazy, isn't it, how much
Yeah,
I mean, I've done just a smidge of reality TV, and it's amazing what you shoot for hours and then what actually shows up, especially
right.
in a show like you're doing. Like, it's one
Yeah.
thing I was on Say Yes to the Dress 100 years ago, which is like
What?
yeah, that's how I got my wedding dress.
Digging out archive right now.
I know,
Got it.
so long ago. But yeah, I was on there to get my wedding dress, but we filmed for 7.5 hours. And it's they show it's like a 24-minute long episode, and you're one of 3 girls that they
Right.
show. So, I mean, we were my mom and I were like, "Oh god, what did we say? What are they gonna get?" And they didn't show any of it. Like,
Yeah,
actually, they showed more of my wedding video than anything we
right.
shot in Kleinfeld. So, it's just funny what
It
ends up
is
making it
awesome.
to
It
the
is,
final
and then
cut.
people ask you questions and you're like, "What are you talking about?" And then you're like, "Oh, right, because your perspective saw it that way. My
Yes.
perspective is totally different." So
Yeah.
I'm always like, "Oh, that's not really what happened, but okay, let's go with it." And then you kinda think like, well, you don't wanna kill the magic for people.
Yeah.
So, you're kinda like, "Oh, yeah, it's kinda what happened."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. You're like, "Well, d if you like to think that, then okay."
Yeah, it's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so for the listener,
Yeah.
Shannon, we met on a flight home. It was the bougiest thing either one of us
Yeah.
had ever done.
My first private flight experience was with Haley Dillon next to
What we were okay, so Shannon and I don't know how you guys got on that flight, but we were not supposed to be on that flight either. And
Nope.
then, because I know you had said, like, this was not the plan. And then,
Mhm.
so we all flew back with Matt Colleague on his plane, which is the team owner to Ty's race team that he's racing for. And it was like, I don't even, what was that plane? I mean, it
I
was
don't know. I felt like Elvis Presley playing. Like, it very much reminded me of, like, the secret room on Elvis Presley's home. Like,
yeah,
it was, like, just this, like, beautiful wood grain, and I was, like and the whole time I'm sitting there and everyone's like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "No big deal, just my first private jet experience
totally.
with Haley Dillon sitting next to me and Ty Dillon next to me, like, no big deal." And there's, like it was so weird, and I was like right away, I was like, "You had the warmest energy," and I was like,
I felt
"Oh
the
my
same
god,
way.
we love Haley Dillon. We're big fans." Big
I felt
fans.
the same way. I was like amazed, and I called my mom the next day. I'm like, "Okay, you're gonna love this girl. She's gonna be my new best friend." Like, I
Oh.
was immediately like and Wendy and I, it was so fun. So me and Ty got asked last second, "Hey, do you guys wanna fly home with Matt?" Matt asked us, and we were like, "Okay, we'll figure out whatever
Work.
we gotta do." We don't have a car there at that airport. Like, we were flying into a
No
different place.
way.
Yeah. but that was a very bougie plane and very exciting, so we were like, "Okay, yeah." I mean, that was the most epic bougie plane ride we've ever like, don't think we do that. That was
I
wild. It
I
was
don't know who
amazing.
does that. Me and
Yeah.
Wendy, like, broke into the bathroom well, broke in, but, like, before the flight took off, I'm like, "I have to go to the bathroom, let's go get changed out of our race clothes because we were, like, at the racetracks all day, and that was where we were changing. We go in the bathroom, and I'm like, "I can't find the toilet."
Oh,
And
I
she's like,
know.
"Oh, it's built into this extravagant bathroom," and I'm like, "Where?" We're, like, pushing buttons,
Yeah.
trying to find a toilet, like, it was
That
so bougie that the toilet was camouflaged.
is a seat, and
There's
you
a
lift
seat.
this it looks like a little couch, and you lift it, and it's a toilet. It's like a
You were
throne.
We're, like, standing there, I'm like, "How did we what is happening? What is happening?" But you were so right away, so warm, and so was Ty, and I was like, "You easily could have been like, where how" like, you could have just sat there. Been a long day.
Well, I mean, I
And you
felt the same
didn't.
way. I was like, they might just I might be sort of breaking in on their girl time or whatever, and so I don't wanna be and I also had, like, a cranking headache, so that was a
Oh,
little bit rough, but thank God they had a flight attendant that
the
brought
2.
me Advil.
We had 2, I
Yeah,
believe there was 2.
that was crazy. The whole experience, I was just like, "What is my life right now?" I mean, it was
That's the
so
whole thing.
fun.
I was
So
like,
fun.
"What?"
And then
But, yeah.
meeting you guys, like, Wendy and I haven't really
Yeah.
talked that much, like, we just in passing, "Hey, girl, what's up?"
Sure.
But we've not had, like, gal pal time to
Ugh,
gab for 5 hours, like, on a 5-hour flight, and you and Bree, right?
yep. Mhm.
And you guys were so funny immediately, and I was like, "Oh, okay. This is gonna be great." Like,
This is gonna be good.
this is gonna be on top of this already being the bougiest thing I've ever done,
Okay.
I'm, like, having so much fun with you guys, so
Oh,
and
I
then
mean, love
we
them.
get to talking, and you tell me you're so humble, and you're just, like, acting like, "Oh, I'm just here with my friend at her job. She's just my friend. By the way, I'm gonna be on the best show coming up next week," casually.
Yeah, no
Like,
big deal.
I was like, "Wait, what?" And
That's so Wendy. And I feel like Wendy's the one that probably hyped me because it's funny you talk about Brie and Wendy and like the
yeah,
company you keep matters, right? Like if you're around people that make you feel small, you're gonna feel small. There's no room for you to grow. And
yeah,
having friends like them, which you got to experience and see
yeah,
like why the three of us have what we have. And it's like we literally replace anything of like our potential is like blown up and our fear disappears when we're with each other, right? Like we're like, you
so
can do anything because you're surrounding yourself with people that just constantly are watering your flowers and being like, "Grow, grow,
yeah,
grow." So for to be on that flight, it's so serendipitous because we're on this flight. It's me and my 2 girls that, the world's bigger because of them
yeah,
and being in my world and all of that. And then we meet you, and I was like, "This is another girl that belong like, that just made me feel so what they make me feel. Like, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel like I shouldn't be there. You just have that about you, and that to me was like it spoke volumes. Of course, barely got off the flight and was like, "Oh my god, Haley Dillon and Ty Dillon were just sitting there, and like it was so weird, and like they're such cool people." And I never. It's just it surprised me, but it's a who you hang out with that makes you
oh,
feel that way.
it
So
is so
you're
important
you're
who
in our
you
group
surround
now.
yourself with.
Yeah,
It is. And I loved seeing your guys' dynamic. I was like, these girls are hype girls, and that's so important.
right.
It is so important to have good people around you that just, I mean, something that Ty always says, and Ty has had a very wild journey in his racing career, and he could in so many ways be like bitter or
Sure.
frustrated or resentful or mad at this team.
Yeah,
He has had moments where the rug's been pulled out from under him. Like, he's had
yeah.
very a very crazy journey, but he is just like, you know what, God has a beautiful plan for my life, and I high tides rise all ships. And
I love.
so he very much gives me that encouragement, and
Oh,
leads our family in that way, and like,
sure.
and so when I see other people, and especially other women, like
Yeah.
cheering each other on, which is something I wanted to talk to you about, because
Oh,
so far throughout the show, so I had to binge the whole thing last week. I binged the whole thing, finally
right.
watched last night's episode.
Okay, good.
But you and Melissa,
Oh,
total, you have that dynamic. It really, I mean, there's no, it would be so easy for there to be the girl group that's just
Awful.
girls to be catty or
Yeah.
fighting. I mean, at no point so far, at no point have you guys even had, as far as we see, like you say, there's a lot
You
that
won't see
we,
it. Nope,
yeah,
we never. Absolutely not. It's funny, we went into it very intentional. And like we knew this was gonna be a pressure cooker of friendship. Like you're
yeah,
talking, friendships every day. Sometimes we go through highs and lows but this was something you can't explain when I say pressure cooker.
yeah,
Like she would say we were making decisions like split second decisions under a lot of pressure and never once did we fall to like being frustrated with each other or not annoyed. Like we never annoyed each other because we went in there so intentional to say that's not who we are. Like, God didn't give me a heart that was like catty and like, how do we bring my light bigger? Oh, I'm going to have to dim hers. Like, absolutely not. We
yeah,
talked so much about that during the show. And we would pull each other aside and be like, hey, you doing okay? Like, this was a tough scene or whatever it might be. And
yeah,
just again, having the people around you that say, I'm giving you a safe space. Like, you've got to have friends that say, here's a space for you to be whatever it is that you need to be right now in this moment. I'm going to hold that space for you. And then we're going to get through it and grow from it. And I had said it the other day, the most like un unpredicted thing about the show was the amount that we grew as people and grew together as friends because
yeah.
we weren't best friends, like they wanted that story and that's okay. We were friends, but we hadn't been through something like this together. How many of your friends have you ever done a TV show with? Like that's
No, that's
not
a
that's not
lot of time.
small. Yeah, that's not shopping, that's not having boy problems and talking about this is, like, intense pressure moments, and we were on camera the whole time, and
Yeah,
our mics were on the whole time. So we knew, like, there was moments that they try to make they want you to see the drama or the things going on with people with conflict, and there's one commercial they run or a scene they run where it's like, "Oh, tensions are getting high." And they skip right over us because our tensions with each other never turned that way.
there are some tensions
Yeah,
with the groups, which
sure.
they're cute, they're
Rightfully
funny.
so, right.
Yeah,
They have different dynamics, right? Like,
yes,
that's what that is, and that's how I would have been if it was my husband or my father or any of that, but it's like, you get to choose your friends and you get to choose who's watering your flowers, and when you do that and you bring them along for rides like this,
mhm,
I there's nothing that can't come from that that's beautiful.
yeah,
So, Melissa's a beautiful person. We actually talked this morning, like, we talk all the time because it's just you need that reminder of, like, check in, "How you doing? I
yeah.
love you. I'm thinking of you," and I don't know. She's a good person to do this with. I couldn't have chosen I mean, we have the best partnership and friendship from
So, I absolutely love that. I wanna know more about the origin of all of this, but for that, I want to back way up, and I want you to tell people a little bit about your story and how you you were telling me how you went to school to be in broadcast news, broadcast and
Mhm.
journalism, you wanted to be a news anchor. Same, by the way.
Why do we all wanna be news anchors?
Why did we think that was such a
Who
good
was it
idea?
that we were following? Was there someone in our generation
Yes.
that we were
Well,
like, "That looks glamorous. That looks fun."
that looks fun. When you got into broadcast news in
Yeah.
college, did you like it? Like, did you continue to yeah, I didn't
No.
either.
It was like you were, like, sitting around waiting for people to die. I like, that literally is how I explain it, like, we were like I think it was Prince maybe that was sick, I don't remember, or the Pope or something,
Yeah.
and literally I remember, like, waiting for this poor man to pass so we could spread the news, and I was like,
What a
I don't wanna be here. I don't wanna be here." It was not as exciting, and I think what I loved about broadcasting, which I'm sure resonates with you, is the connection to people and the connection to their stories, and once I realized broadcasting had nothing to do with, like, sharing stories, I was like, "I'm out.
yeah.
I don't this is not fun."
It's so funny because that was for me, and now I know myself, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm a storyteller, and you're such a storyteller." And so you think that that's news because it
Sure.
kinda is. It's you're telling the world the story of
Yeah.
the news, but, like, depressing. Not
Awful news, awful
yeah,
news.
you gotta
Now,
pick a
like,
one.
we have, we had cameras, right? Like, our choice was a camera, a standalone station camera in a news floor.
Yeah,
Now we've got YouTube, podcast, our phones, all of these ways to communicate with people. Back then, and I age myself, but, back in the early 2000s, we didn't have that. So my
yeah,
storytelling in my mind came from the camera, and that's all I knew. And that camera would reach
yeah.
masses. And now I'm like, my platform reaches masses by getting on Instagram, by getting on TikTok,
Literally,
right?
like, it's insane how
Insane.
quickly you can oh, look at this little girl.
She's
Oh my
it's so
goodness.
Ty. I'm like, "That's a mini Ty."
I know.
But a
She's
little
so
bit of
cute.
Haley. It's cute,
Oh,
cute,
just
perfect.
a sprinkle. A sprinkle of
Amazing how we have
Ty.
children. Our
Yeah.
children look nothing like us. We're like, "Cool, cool."
Oh my gosh, I know. So you went into that to broadcast news, and then you said you got into the Page program at NBC,
Did. I
which
did.
that would have been an absolute dream of mine. Did you
Right.
enjoy that time?
Absolutely, it was a dream for anyone that was in
Yeah.
broadcasting, and I can remember Professor Fritz, I think his name was, he was like, "There's this program, and, they get 60,000 applicants a year, and they take 20 people, so good luck." And I was like, "Hold my beer.
Yeah.
Okay." I'm like, "I'm meant to be there." So, luckily for me, my husband had already gone through the program,
Oh,
and he was just out of it, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, you definitely apply."
yeah.
So, I do believe he got me in the door for the interview, but the interview process was no joke, Haley. Like, we had to get in there and do interview after interview, and we're talking presentation in front of you would get in there, and there'd be, like, 4 people in a panel in the middle of Rockefeller Plaza, and you're, like, 20-something years old, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh," right? And so the interview process alone was like, "What?" If I could get through that, like, I could do anything. But you get 1 year in the program, and for 1 year, you're allowed to apply for different, assignments, they were called. And the assignments might be like Saturday Night Live, Today's Show, the news with Brian Williams, who I loved,
Yeah.
all of these things, like the different assignments, and you would get them. And if you got them, that was your opportunity. And I think that taught me so much about life. It was like, it wasn't the opportunity that someone was going to hand you, particularly like to say, this is going to be your job. It was, here's a platform I'm going to have you stand on. If
Yeah.
you're standing here and you don't do what you're supposed to do when you're here, I will not reward you. Right?
Yeah.
I will not give you what is yours. You need to actively do something while you're on that platform. And
Right.
you have to fight for the right interviews. You have to talk to the right people. You have to do the things that are going to get you to the point where you belong.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the first moment of like, I got to fight for what I need here.
Yeah.
And I did. And I absolutely loved being in that environment. And I was like, wait a second, TV is not just news.
Yeah.
My life has just begun.
Well, and it's kinda your
Oh,
first taste of, like, this is the big leagues and this
mhm.
is cutthroat. Like, if you
Very.
don't insert yourself and
Mhm.
make it happen, no
Yeah,
one else is going to. I mean, you're not gonna get a knock on the door like, "Hey, Haley, we have the perfect role for
sure.
you. We're begging you to come and be"
Right.
and so you really have to assert yourself
Yeah,
and
I did.
take initiative, and that is kind of your first experience out of college. I mean, that
I
had to have
know.
been so cool and stressful, and when you say SNL, Conan,
Yeah,
it's the NBC program,
sure.
what kinda stuff did you do with SNL? Like, with these different what did you enjoy? What did you not enjoy
Yeah.
in
So
that?
Paige's main priority job every day was to do tours around the studios.
Okay.
So we would do VIP tours, we would do tours on top of the assignments. And that I really understand now allowed us to really engulf ourselves in the the whatever it's called, like the vibe of NBC, and you were walking amongst all of these people and you're allowing the world to come in and look in from your lens, and then that was it, right? And then they would leave, but you were still there. And it
Yeah.
just gave you this sense of pride because you were like, this is my home. These are my people."
Yeah,
And like,
I'm giving you a tour of Kim Kardashian.
sure. And they put
Were
you
you
all
ever
in the same.
giving
Yeah, what?
like, when you say VIP tours, were you ever giving like, who was the most famous or what were some impressionable
Everyone you can think of. There is no limit of my list of people that I dealt with.
oh my
And
god.
it's funny, like Will Ferrell, I remember being in an elevator with Will Ferrell, and for me, that was like a moment of like, I've made it. Like, this is Will
Yeah,
Ferrell. And then it would be like Lenny Kravitz and Jimmy Fallon and, I mean, Hoda Kotb, and she was so sweet. And like,
yeah,
I mean, anything from like anyone you can think of up to A-listers. Like, I think it was during the tsunami and they all came in, they brought in all these celebrities to do like a big show. And I had the assignment. So I had to VIP walk all of the big celebrities to their dressing rooms,
oh
which
my
was cool because you were like, well, you've got 20 seconds with this person. You had to have an elevator speech because they would say, oh, do you like being a page? And you'd be like, "Oh, I really love it. My dream is da da da." Like, you always had to
Yeah,
have this elevator speech ready because your
so
time
good.
was so quick. And it
Yeah.
was like, how do you make the best impression? And you're all wearing the same outfit. So you're all wearing these like navy blue suits. There's a show called 30 Rock,
Yeah.
and Kenneth the Page, he's wearing the suit. It's like the same thing for men and women, but
Oh,
ours was a dress and it was like navy, everything head to toe. You just fit in. The only distinction was your name tag. And then you had a pin that was like a peacock or, whatever. So I'm in the elevator with like Will Ferrell and he's like, I like your pin. I really think that was the first thing that was like he said to me. And I was like, you too. And then I was like, you're not wearing pins. And then I realized we had like 10 more seconds together. And I was like, cool.
cool.
Awesome. Will Ferrell. I'll never forget this moment. So, but you would do things like Saturday Night Live. We would walk in VIP and sit them at their seats. And then I would stand at the back and watch the show and making sure that like whoever needed like assistance from their seat or this celebrity that was hosting would run in and out and they were changing their clothes right there. Like Ashton Kutcher ripped his clothes off and I was like, my life has begun. Like, yes,
Like, what is
there
that?
he is in his glory.
My
So
god,
you're
that's
doing all
crazy.
kinds of fast-paced things with people. And I mean, you can only imagine what I saw, but we didn't have cell phones at the time. We didn't have cameras at the time. So a
Yeah.
lot of this just like lives up here. And I'm like, if only I could like pull it out and show people the
Yeah.
magic that I lived for so long.
Oh,
So
so cool. What a
yeah.
fun and crazy experience. Like, you've lived so many lives. It's
Yeah.
so encouraging because, like, here you are, you're still pursuing your
Oh yeah.
dream, and you've had so much happen in between then and now. So then
Yeah.
you go and you were the assistant to the VP of the network?
Yeah, so
How
USA
long?
Network, Chris McCumber, who was one of the most brilliant marketing, brand strategy, just all around perfect guy. Like you couldn't ask for a better person to work for. And one of his friends who worked in the building knew he was looking for an assistant. And I had been kind to this man and worked for him. And he said, I want you to meet Chris. He's looking for a new assistant. So up I go in my blue outfit, not standing out. And I march into his office and I was like, hi, Mr. McCumber, like whatever. And he's like, call me Chris. And he's got these incredible posters. And you could just tell he was this super chill guy. And within like 5 minutes, he's like, so when do you want to start as my assistant? And I was like, I made it. You get 1 year in the page program to get a job in that building. And then
Yeah,
you're gone. If you don't get a job, you're gone. That's it, right?
yeah,
You gotta dig and start doing networking. And so I knew at that moment when he hired me, I had stayed. I had made it. I
yeah.
successfully did the page program and got a job. So I stayed with him for years and he was at the time doing a rebrand for USA Network, Characters Welcome. And he was doing a lot of things with characters and bringing in characters like WWE came in. And I can remember like John Cena being like, hey, Shannon, he would come over and we would hang out and he'd put his belt on me. And
God.
still to this day, it's all like, oh my gosh, like that, to be a young girl in New York City with the world right here
Yeah,
in the palm of your hands and people like Alec Baldwin coming to your desk and being like, what are you doing? Sticking his head up. And,
yeah,
you just live in this world where you think, oh my gosh, this can be mine. So
yeah,
yeah, I worked for him for years. Because he was so lovable and kind, people respected him in a way that his lesson for me in my life was you treat anyone the same, no matter who they are, who came to his office. He gave everyone a smile, love. He gave them space. He gave them compassion. He was kind to every single person he met.
yeah.
And I remember being like, he's never mean, even when someone would mess up. I
Mhm.
forgot to call his car once and he had to call a cab, which is a big deal when you're Chris McCumber. And he had to call a cab from the airport. And I was like mortified because I had failed as his assistant.
Oh my god.
And he was like, it's really not that big of a deal. And I ordered him like this like taxi cab die car, die hard car, whatever. And I
Yeah,
brought it in and just set it on his windowsill one day. And I was like, I'm really sorry you had to call a cab. And he was like, "That's not what life's about, Shannon. That's not important. It's
yeah,
it's okay." And I realized that there was going to be people who you could mess up with, and they would still love you,
yeah,
and they would respect you and take care of you. And that was a big lesson for me with him. So
for sure.
I loved him. It was a really cool, good, great, great time. Great time.
That is so cool, and I think it's the most valuable thing you can give anyone is your time,
Yeah.
and, our time is precious, but that shows when someone like
Yes.
that is giving people his time, and he just has that sort of grace and generosity. That's really cool.
Yeah.
He sounds like he was very impressionable.
He was.
When from that, though, and it sounds like you said maybe then you were like, "Okay, I wanna be a mommy, and I, like, wanna get married and have babies," and
Didn't we all?
what yes. So what was that transition
I
Like,
mean,
what were those following years?
it was hard, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's funny because you think of, like, your life as a woman and having that maternal instinct kick in, and sometimes we have it and sometimes we don't, and mine kicked in and I was like, "I need I need to get married and have babies. This is the
Mhm.
next step." And trying to manage being in New York City, even pregnant, was a
Yeah.
nightmare, absolute nightmare. Riding the subway thinking, "If this subway breaks down, am I gonna get out? Am
Yeah.
I gonna be okay? Like,
I'm gonna
how
have
would
a
I
baby.
ever
I'm gonna
carry a
have someone.
baby in here?" Like, there's all these things running through your mind, so I was
Yeah.
like, "Nope, I'm gonna go have children. I'm gonna go start my family," and I did,
Yeah.
and I let go with grace. I walked out of Rockefeller for that last day with total grace, with total integrity, with so much gratitude that I had lived that experience, and I think a part of me knew I might not ever be back,
Yeah.
but then there was, like, this small part of me saying, like, "Why not? Why couldn't you go
Yeah.
back?" Like, it's not like the door's shut. I didn't burn any bridges, right? I just
Right.
had to leave. I had to go be mom. So I did. I, raised my children, and that's kind of that second part of your life, right? We go through these phases of who we are as women and moms
Mhm.
and just women. Sometimes we become wives and moms and whatever it might be, and there's these phases and long chapters of our life,
Yeah.
and we just have to say, like, "What did we learn there?" And what, what can we do to make these children the best that we can?
Yeah.
So I poured into them for a good 15 years, and that's when my husband was with NASCAR on the road with Wendy as his producer, or her
Yeah.
producer, excuse me. So I managed to make the best friend out of him being on the road for 15 years with NASCAR and raising the kids and coming to Charlotte and being like, "Wow, we're really doing this." And
Yeah.
now getting ready for college and high school. So I'm done. I did it. No,
Yeah.
you're never done.
No,
You're
no,
never done.
it's never done.
You're
I
never
called my
done.
mom right before this interview. I mean, it never stops.
You're like, "I don't know, I don't know." But it's funny, like, as women and just as moms, we always think the value we add to our family is what's deposited in the bank account. And I think sometimes I lived that guilt. Like, I was like, "Well, the value I'm adding wasn't being deposited into a bank
Mhm.
account." So I had to really fight with myself to say, like, "Yeah, but you're raising children that are they're getting their mom and they're getting what you're giving them and all of that stuff." So stepping away was tough, but the minute it kicked in that it didn't have to be a deposit into a bank account.
Right.
I was depositing into myself and my children for
Right.
years,
Yeah.
and I'm thankful for that. So
And it's
now
such important work. I
yeah.
mean, I'm in the thick of that right now. We have a 7-year-old, 4-year-old, and 1-year-old. It's just I'm in that mode of exactly what you're saying, like, where I do have this battle of, like, you know, I have all of these dreams, these things I wanna do, and then but then I do feel I feel God telling me, "Hey, you are doing it. Like, you're doing it with your kids. This is so important." And, I also do have always kind of had this weird, like, ever since Ty and I have been together, I've had this weird feeling of God being like, you can do like just one foot in front of the other is something we always are like, we'll figure it out. And so I do keep pursuing. Like, I've never halted these dreams. I've never, like you say, I've not closed the door on anything. And
Mhm.
so you never know, you might be back in Rockefeller. Like, that's kind of been my mindset in life, is like my best days are still ahead of me.
100%.
And so, but yeah, we're in the thick of it right now with our three little ones.
You're doing so good. Like, you and I know, like, there's behind the scenes and there's reality, right? Like, I
Yeah.
know. But the fact of the matter is I don't think that people give enough credit to understand how much you are doing. Like, you are doing so much more than I think people realize. You're doing it all. That's a big
Sometimes
jump.
I'm like sometimes I do take a second and pause, and I'm like, "I'm tired."
Sure, you should be.
You know?
You should
Oh,
be.
we got a lot going on. We got a lot of moving parts in this Dylan house, but yeah, thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for that.
and they see every family needs it. They need no matter who it is, it should be you and Ty both. They see you trying. They
Yeah.
see you doing. And
Yeah.
that it's so priceless, and it's again because there's not a monetary thing that we're like, this is what happened. Like, they are seeing and learning from you in every way, whether you like are even like paying attention or
Yeah.
not, right?
Yeah.
They're
Good
like,
and
my
bad.
mommy was that. My mommy said that, and you're like, no, I didn't. Stop. No, I
Right.
didn't.
I know.
We're
Oh
watching.
my gosh. Some of the stuff that they say, like
Oh,
Oakley Ty had a field when and he was the chaperone for a field trip last year. And some of the things that Oakley said on that field trip, he was like, whoa, 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 maybe don't say that. Like,
Right? Like, you're like,
I know.
"No, that wrong context, wrong
Yeah.
context."
Yeah, like, some of the stuff that they went to the zoo and she was like, "My pop has killed an alligator," or
Oh,
whatever
no.
it was, and it was like, "Whoa, whoa, probably don't say that, like, that might not be okay." You know? He has a whole room of he has a giraffe in it because like, Richard has a ton of
Taxidermy.
taxidermy, and she was, like, saying all this stuff, and anyway, it's just some of the
Oh.
stuff that kids say, they're that was just, like, random, but they're always listening.
Always. You're, like, teaching them lessons when you're not teaching them lessons. You're like, "That wasn't a lesson, my bad."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. We're like, we do the best we can, but I'm sure we're always like, "I'm sure we're screwing them up somehow. They're gonna need some sort of therapy because of
I
us."
was gonna totally. I'm talking to my daughter the other day, she's 17, she's going in or she's in her senior year, and I was like, "Oh, we're looking through videos before her first day of school," and I'm showing her all these things I did as a child, like, when she was a child. I'm like, "I took you to the zoo every day. I took you to the museum every day. I did all of these things with you," and she's like, "Mom, I don't remember any of that," and I was like, I busted my butt to make sure every day we woke up and you were getting some kind of program in your
Yeah,
mind or body that was developing you and you don't remember any of it. So
yeah,
really from the time they're 0 to the 7, you can probably just not do anything and we would have been
yeah.
fine.
Just lots
But
of
here I
hugs.
was trying.
Yeah, I know. Lots of
They won't
snuggles,
remember
and that's
anything.
about it.
They're
I mean,
just gonna remember being so loved and safe. That's all. That's all they're
I
gonna remember.
know. It's so true, and here we are lugging them across the country to all these different races because 'cause we're like, "This is good
So good
pressure
for them.
years." My gosh, meanwhile, we're, like, pitting out, carrying luggage.
I saw the picture of you at the track and I'm like, she has like one child here, one on her leg. And I'm like, there's the hero. Look at her doing God's work out there, just carrying all the babies for
Like,
mom.
"You're gonna remember this."
Yeah. You're like, you
They're
will remember
4
this when you see
and
this
1.
picture. They're not going to remember it.
No. I know.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Ty and I were like, I wonder if they will remember this because so Austin won this past weekend, and we were like, let's go to Victory Lane, and there's the confetti, and we were when we got home that night, I'm like, I wonder if they'll remember that when they're older. We were talking about that because it's one of those like
Big
bigger
moments.
moments in life.
Sure.
So I'm
Excitement.
sure they will, but it's just gonna be so interesting to see what they take in from it.
Right. It's
So
like anything. They
yeah.
say, like Maya Angelou says, like, you're not going to remember the moment or what someone said or what they did. You just remember how you felt. And
Yes.
she's probably going to, they're going to remember the excitement. They're going to remember
Yeah.
being proud, seeing
This
all that excitement. But I can't imagine. I
I
don't remember anything. I'm like, I can barely remember, like, maybe around like 18, I start to develop the memory.
Yeah. Yeah, my frontal cortex sort of closing.
Like, oh, yeah.
Um, so speaking of, so that is when though, we say all these things like you're an inspiration in more ways than one, but it's like I I'm doing these things still because I'm pursuing these passions as well as being a mother, which is clearly what you've done. And then you became this DIYer. Like, where did this begin? Have you always had this artistic nature about you?
Yeah,
And
I think the creative part of all of us lives in us. Like we all have a creative part of us. We just don't really know what it is. And it's up to our parents really to not say no. And I always tell people, like, I didn't have no parents. If I said to my mom at age 10, I want to paint my room white with a red stripe around the top and black furniture, she would say, okay, get to work, figure it out.
yeah,
And for me, it
I
was
like
like,
that.
right? And, like, we always I feel like we say no because we're not creative, right? If that's not the way we see creativity,
Yeah,
we tend to shy away from it. Like, our kids wanna play with Play-Doh, and we kinda sit there and we're like, "We don't know how to do Play-Doh," or, "We don't know how to paint," or whatever it might be that they wanna do, and it's like, my parents never saw the no. It
yeah,
was just like, "Yeah, okay, well, whatever you wanna try, try it. Okay."
yeah,
I never was, like, in an environment where there was a safe there was never, like, a space of saying, "If you didn't do it right, like, shame on you." Like, you did that was a lesson, you should just not do that again. It was more of, like, try it,
yeah,
see what you learn from that, because your confidence is going to come from doing it over and over again, getting better at it, right? And the reason most people don't start projects, of course, is because a lack of confidence. They don't wanna just
yeah.
start. because
Don't know
they're like, "Where
how.
do I start? What if I mess it up?" Right?
Right.
So, I just didn't have that environment growing up. We had this craft room that was like our lower level, like 1980s home. And there was this room, and I remember going into my room, and my mom was very crafty, and my dad owned a plumbing and heating company. So, I had blue collar parents, right? She made floral arrangements and she did, all these things that were very crafty, and my dad was hands on. So, everything in my home was based around that. And if something was broke, we figured out how to fix it.
Yeah.
If, like whatever it might be. So we had this room and it was like everything in there was ours. It was craft paper, glue, glue gun, nail polish, paper, like anything you can think of. It was just like
Yeah.
an art room, if you will, but really it was just a creative space. And I just would go down there and tinker and be like, well, I'm going to make, whatever it might be. And our kids think in different ways than us. And I think I give my parents so much credit for understanding that my mind as a child was not seeing it the same as their adult mind.
Mm.
So if I said, I'm going to go outside and build mud pies, that was bigger in my mind than an adult mind, right? My mom's like, there it comes. Like, there's going to be mud everywhere. It's not really going to be pies, but whatever. But I would build mud pies, me and my sister, and we put grass and flowers in them and make them pies, right? So it was just about my parents not limiting what my mind was seeing as a child.
Right.
And we get
Not
in front of that
watching your
so much.
creativity.
Yeah, we get in front of our kids so much based on our limitations of creativity. So they never said no. They just let me do whatever I wanted to do, and I knew I had a knack for making things come to life again, maybe be a little bit nicer than they were. Like a piece of furniture, I'll flip it. I'll sand
Yeah.
it down and repaint it, right? And it just started like that. It started and I realized my hands had so much in them to do. And
Yeah.
it was like connecting the 2, which again, that's what kids need. They need to take their hands and connect what's going on up here because I had an active, very active brain.
Yeah.
Um, I wasn't the I was bullied a little bit when I was younger. I was pretty overweight and I had like a lot of people constantly just kind of making me feel smaller.
Mm.
And I felt bigger as a person in a good way, like mentally and physically. I felt bigger when I was making things. I
Mm.
felt like this was something I was good at, where everybody else was so concerned with, well, if you would lose weight, you'd be prettier. If it was those type of comments. And I was like,
Right.
wow. So when I started realizing what my hands could do and make things look good and pretty, it just brought something inside of me.
Yeah.
I challenge parents all the time. I'm like, do not tell when kids say, what color should I paint this dog in my drawing? Instead of saying, oh, I love a brown dog, say, well, what color do you think the dog should be?
Mm.
Right? Like
Mhm.
we so quickly jump in front of answering their creativity. And I just challenge parents
Answering
not.
them in general. I mean,
Mhm.
but especially in creativity. Cause
Yeah.
and I am like so guilty of what you're saying because I'm like, no, it will stay nice looking, like nice in my mind. Like I'm
Don't worry.
like,
We all are. Don't worry.
we're
Don't
not
guilt it. We don't want ugly art in our walls.
yeah. I'm like, I don't know about that. Which I mean, I am not like a clean like this is I
This is
really
your
need
section?
I really need to this is the clean section. Don't go past this line or this line.
Which one is
Like, I should show you the chaos
it?
that is this room and the amount of artwork laying around. Like, I have all these okay, I'm gonna show you. I
Put
have
it
all
up.
these ridiculous, like, paintings I've done,
Wait,
and
you painted those, Haley?
yes, I did. But I don't know how to hang them. I need you, Shannon. I need you to figure out a collage. Look at
We
all
are doing the biggest wall of artwork by Haley behind you, and we're gonna hang up all your
look at all this crap.
yes. That is happening. It's happening before you
And then
know
I'm
it. I'm coming
and then
over. I'm on my way.
this is so bad. Look at all this junk.
No,
I'm
it's
so
not. That's life, Haley.
I
We
know.
don't know what to do with ourselves and our creativity.
I don't
Like,
know what
at
to do.
least you're outletting it. At least you're putting it
Yes.
out there. And your kids see that, by the way.
They do, and Oakley is so artistic. Like,
Uh,
Captain is 4, he's
sure.
you know,
They're all, yeah.
but Oakley is 7, and she is so artistic and, you know, I want her to, like, take her time. Sometimes when we're
Sure.
sitting there, I'm like, "Okay, just take your time, like, don't rush through a painting or whatever," and the whole thing with these canvases is I got, like, a 4-pack of canvases, and then I was like, "I'm gonna do some paintings," and I don't know,
Really,
it
those are beautiful. Those
thank
need to be
you.
up. I'm coming over tomorrow.
Um, we need to hang them or
We
something.
need to hang it.
I need some flavor behind this wall. I need you.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm
do.
I'm really bad about like putting that together. I'm
Sure.
very Have you ever seen Ty and I did a podcast where we talked about this. Have you ever seen Encanto?
Yeah,
Encanto,
of
whatever.
course, Encanto. Yeah, the children's movie. Yes, okay.
Yes. So, the way that that house is, like, growing and moving and can do all these that's how Ty is, like, that's your brain. Like, you're so colorful and have all of these things going on in your brain, and he is like, "I am, like, primary colors, square,
Sure.
triangle, circle." Like,
Yeah,
he is very basic, you know,
of
sees it
course.
black and white, and it's
Of
just funny.
course.
The
They
word
can come together. You can celebrate each other in what you present in your home
yeah.
very easily. If
Oh,
my home wasn't torn apart right now, I would show it to you. But, like, you can present each other and what you love and, showcase your personality and all of your winnings and all of the things that are making you feel happy and joyful, like, that should all be on your walls, but I do think there can be sometimes too much, so, there's a happy medium.
right, right. I mean, some of these so we talked when we were on the plane about some of these shows that are on HGTV or whatever.
Yeah.
Some of these shows are so like some of the stuff I'm like, you couldn't roll over in bed in that bed
No,
because you
it's
would
all
knock
staged.
over 20 tchotchkes
Yeah.
if you rolled. Like,
Everything is made for TV, Haley.
yeah,
Everything is made for TV, like, everything down to, like, certain things, like, if you touched it, it would fall over type things, like,
yeah,
that's real, like, that's HGTV, right? And I worked on 3 other shows, and I remember it was funny, like, the designer would be like, "Shannon, the camera's coming in 5 minutes, just camera ready.
yeah.
Camera ready is different than real world ready. I would never lie in some of these beds or be able to even use my nightstand because there's things on it or stuff all over it. So it's not reality. It's more of just like how we present it. It's almost like everything else we're doing in life. It's like Instagram versus reality.
The highlight reel versus reality. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, don't turn a
Yeah.
fan on because 4 things will fall over. Like, the
All
stage
points.
element of the staging of it is different than the reality of how you
So different.
would live in it.
So
Um,
different. Very hard
to
as
that
a contractor because I'm like,
yeah,
this stuff doesn't look good, but camera ready.
yeah. But to that point, in this show, you guys really do seem to be finishing it full out. Like, it really
100%.
doesn't seem that way. It's different in that way. It's actually seems practical. Like, this is what the intention is for how this space needs to be lived in
Right.
because these are gonna be vacation rentals.
Yep.
So, what has been different about this show than other things that you've done? Like
Yeah. Well, good question because I've never done a vacation home.
yeah,
I've never prepared a space to be an Airbnb. So me and Melissa had done a lot of research prior of like, what do people look for in Airbnbs? What do they like?
yeah.
And the one thing that I always went back to was the idea that it was picture worthy. And I
Okay.
think a lot of people that want to open like an Airbnb or start their first Airbnb, they go in it thinking like, they overthink, like, maybe what it feels like or what the colors are. At the end of the day, what are people going to take pictures of and share?
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So the whole time, if you look at the wall, like, that's her artwork on the wallpaper, and we made it so out loud. We lived out loud in that home because we wanted people to come in there and be like, "Selfie, selfie," like,
Yeah.
share that picture, tag us, like, that's the
Like,
important
even
part
the
of an Airbnb.
laundry, you guys thought it
Yeah.
out. So even the laundry room, I'm like,
She was
I would
brilliant with
just
that
wanna hang
design.
out in there.
Right? She was brilliant in that design, and this is like, that's her specialty is creating spaces that people feel alive in and feel like a part of them come alive, and what more do you want in a vacation home? Because guess what? They're gonna come back to that home, or
Yeah,
they're gonna tell their friends they need to rent that home.
yeah.
So for us, it was like, in our mind, we're like, we're going in this as like a marketing thing. It was a
Mhm.
marketing. Airbnbs and designing an Airbnb, it's all marketing. It's
And
all
that
what people see.
and your very front entry that says, "This must be the place," like,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
there's not a corner that you guys didn't have that marketing mindset of
Yeah.
every bit of this is photographable? Is that
Yeah.
a word?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, every single bit of the space so far that you've shown, I cannot wait to see what you do with the rest of it. Like, I feel like you're just now getting into what's gonna be my favorite part.
I think you're going to die when you see the lower level.
Yeah.
It was based around the idea that it was social media ready. And when
Oh,
I tell you our basement is like nothing I've ever stepped foot in, I
yeah.
mean, we had like the crew coming in all the time, taking selfies, taking pictures. Like our lower level is to die for. And I mean, all of them, everybody's lower level was just where we had finally let go. We'd been filming for so long. And
Yeah.
we were finally able to go get down to that level and be like, this is the playground of our design, right? Melissa was able to be like, yeah, you want to put that on the wall? Yep. Yep. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Melissa. I'll put it up for you. Sure. Like she just went for it. And it's so brilliant. And all the kids like, you're gonna love this lower level. It's gonna blow
Oh,
your mind.
I'm so excited, and I also am just so curious to see how you guys finish out. I mean, I I know you can't give me any spoilers, but I'm like, who is gonna win this thing? They
Yeah.
did a very good job of casting all of you because
Right?
it is 4 completely different vibes.
Yes. Yep. It was.
Very different.
You go into it not knowing who was casted, and they kept us in a hotel like without we weren't allowed out of our rooms until filming started the next, I think it was 2 days later.
Oh
So
my
we if
gosh.
we had to come out of our rooms, like someone had to walk us to like we were secrets from each other. So right off the bat, we're like, oh, competitors, oh, here we come. So
Yeah.
the first time we ever saw each other was at that fire pit in the intro. We had never met each other. We didn't know what to expect. And we all had personalities. And the producers had said to us, like, you know, just come alive, like this is why we casted you, come alive.
Yeah.
Me and Melissa barreled down that first episode, running into the arms of Scott and Brian, like, we love you. We
Yeah.
watched it back and realized everyone else came down and was like, nice to meet you.
Hi.
So we all joke around like we're all family now, right? Like we're all like so tight. And it's just so exactly who we all are. Like we all were just like, what do we expect? What to do? But man, we went into that show and we were like, we're gonna be ourselves.
Yeah.
So the casting of who they all were, it was brilliant casting. And every one of us loved each other just as much as you see. And I feel like you don't even see as much of love as we had, but I mean, we grew as a family. Like,
Yeah.
I will never experience what I experienced. There's only 7 people in this world that know what I went through.
Yeah.
That's them.
Yep. Gosh,
So,
it's really cute to see some of your behind the scenes on your
yeah,
social media because it's like, "Oh, wow, they spent a lot more time together than you realize." And
Mhm. So much
so
time.
how how real is it when they're going, you know, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you
Oh,
lift your
that's real.
hands off?
That's real. It
Really?
is all real. It was so timed down to the fact that if let's say I hypothetically had to walk away to take a phone call for 10 minutes,
Yeah.
everyone stopped because that 10 minutes wouldn't be fair if I lost my 10 minutes because my daughter was, sick and I
Right.
had to go talk to her. Chris and Camille next door got 10 more minutes than me. I mean, they were on it like every second mattered. Every
Oh
single
my
second mattered.
gosh.
And you think it when you watch it, you're like, oh, it can't be that tight. Oh, no, no. We joke that the producer was like the fairness coordinator because she would be like, okay, you guys, everybody has to agree that we're going to get an extra hour tonight. Cameras down. You
Yeah.
get 1 extra hour in your room to finish painting. And we
So
all
would
had to
they
agree.
stop? Like, would they walkie-talkie, "Hey, stop," or would they just be like, "Shannon, you guys get 10 extra minutes because I know you had
No,
to."
they would walkie every producer. We all had our own producer in our home and our own cameraman, and they were all constant communication with each
Okay.
other and the
So they
producers.
weren't doing walkie-talkies.
It was. There was
I
zero. Yeah, no, they were. They
walkie-talkies.
were. They were like, huh. So they would be like, "Hey, 10 minutes, everyone, like back to island," and we would run back to our island. We called it.
Mm.
What was that show? Pleasure Island? I don't know. Anyway, we would run
Love
back to our
Island?
island. Love Island. That's what we called it. We'd run back to Love Island and sit
Yeah.
and wait and make sure. Like Kimmy was nursing the whole time. She was breast
No
pumping
way!
every single day, all day long. So she
You're
would
like
pump. Like, I mean, it's just crazy. Like it's
you're
probably
tired,
TMI.
you're like, "Does she need a pump yet?"
Right, like, this poor girl, I just outed her, but, like, this was, like, real life, like, we were all still living our real lives as they were filming, and we're
Yeah.
talking, like, 8 or 9 hours on camera, and nothing stopped. The only time it stopped was, like, in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I mean, even then, like, you were still, like, walking to the bathroom wondering, "Is someone filming me walking?"
Yeah.
You know,
"Oh,
like,
mic off?"
it's just cameras all the time. So, it's very real. It's very real that it was
Wow.
5 seconds down. I mean, there's definitely some shots that are produced, like, to catch the right angle of our hands going up, but
Right.
I'm throwing pillows at Melissa, she's tossing light bulbs here. It was real, like, we
Yeah.
were limited to our time. Our bookshelves weren't even dry, and she's putting stuff on there, and it's sticking, and then it's just like, we just didn't have time. It's just
Yeah.
so it's crazy what we did, so it's
I
real.
don't even know how to begin with, 10% of the stuff that you guys have done in that show. I mean, I've never put wallpaper up in my life.
Really? It's
I
easy.
I am pathetic
You can
family.
dress a baby or you can put up wallpaper.
I yes. No. I know that I could do it, and I really wanna wallpaper my a couple rooms, like my dining
Right.
room,
Let's do
a
it.
couple yeah.
Okay,
Me too.
done. Marking my calendar now for
Yeah,
Haley Dillon's wallpaper schedule.
good.
It's
You know
so
what?
easy.
I also truly am going to, like, commission you to do some I have so we want to build a barn dominium at some point, and it's becoming closer and closer to a possible reality.
Okay. I've
Um,
got a person that does that.
you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
What weird that you said that. I've been manifesting that on my vision board for years.
Okay, and I wanna talk to you about it
Good.
at the station.
Okay, good. Go
Um,
on. Yes, tell me
but yes,
more.
we are wanting to do, like, a barn dominium type of thing, and my brother I'll send it to you. My brother is a home builder. And
Okay.
he which it's funny that you say all of these different things about art we all are artistic.
Sure.
My brother Rowan is an actual artist, like paint to canvas, he's an
Oh,
artist, incredible. Has he's just like a savant, like, it's a gift. And
well,
then my other brother, Nick, is a home builder and has, like, this other craftsman way about him that he's so artistic. And so it's and then my sister is a hairdresser, which is such an art.
it's all an art. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, anyway, my brother built these bunk beds that are really cool, and I'm
Oh,
like, "I need some sort of a bunk room," so
yeah.
definitely gonna inquire about that down the road whenever that comes up.
I love that. I love that you say that all about your family because it's again the idea that like every one of us, even people listening, everyone has something in them that's like a little spark of like creativity.
Yeah.
And it's not labeled by anything. I mean, it can be anything. It can be a digital, it can be anything. And so like we have all of these little things that are little flames. And it's like, how do you feel the moment of like being around someone who either sparks it or what triggers that for some people and what doesn't? And how do we go our whole lives without being like, yeah, you know what, I'm just gonna try it.
Yeah,
And a lot of people don't. So
yeah,
kudos to you for like painting and all of that stuff because you easily could be like, it's just a thing I like to do.
yeah.
Maybe
No,
I'll try it.
I know. We've always been a pretty artistic family, and I'm
It's
kind of like, "Where
awesome.
did that happen? Where did that
We all
spark
we all
from?"
have
But
it. Yeah.
yeah.
We all have it
Well,
in us.
you were saying about your vision board, and you were talking about we talked about manifesting, and
We did.
you when we were flying that day, and you told me about, like, get as specific
Mhm.
about it, like, obnoxiously
Yes.
specific, like,
Obnoxious.
what car are you driving? What does your hair look like? What are you wearing? 2 things I have, like, in great detail written down, to manifest an acting role and Ty winning a race. And I have, in great lengths, great
What?
detail,
That's amazing.
written these down of how they're gonna go, and,
Good.
am trying to manifest them. So,
That is so exciting. I, like, get really excited. I'm like, "Yes."
it's absolutely because of you and what we talked
Oh,
about. Like,
Haley.
I've read The Secret. I've but it was our conversation that made me go, "I need to just sit down and actually write that out," because
Yeah,
what you enlightened me when I was telling you the things that I've written down have come true. They just
sure.
haven't been like what I expected. And you were like, it's because you're not being
Right.
specific enough. And I was
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, okay. I am gonna get much more specific because when I
Mhm.
go back every January, I write a list of things I want to try and
Do you want
accomplish
for
in
the
the year.
year. Yep.
Yeah. What is it? What do they call it? What is that?
Resolutions?
A
Your New Year's
resolution.
resolutions?
Yes,
Yeah,
like a New Year's resolution.
sure.
And so, anyway, I went back and I was reading some of them and I'm like, it is so weird how these have come true, but like maybe not quite to the degree or what exactly I was
Mhm.
thinking,
Yep.
but they're in there. And so anyway, when we talked about that, you were like, no, you've got to get ultra
Oh,
specific.
yeah.
So
Really
give
specific.
the listener like a little bit of a tip of the
A little
things you
bit
were
of our
telling me.
conversation,
Yeah.
our private jet conversation that
Yeah.
I manifested.
Tell the world our private jet combo.
Yeah, right. Just typical private jet conversations between Haley and Shannon.
We're just
Um,
manifesting. Gosh,
yeah.
that sounds so
We're so pretentious,
yeah,
Haley.
that sounds
Um, Not who we are, not who we are. But yeah, I went a long time ago to, a program where it was with someone who, again, was allowing me to grow, and they were talking about that whole manifestation, and it was the first time I really understood it and realized I was already doing it.
Mhm.
But when you're talking about a dream or a goal that you have, and you're saying to yourself, okay, so my friends do this all the time, and I'm like, I know why that happened. So, for instance, one of my friends might say, oh, well, I asked specifically, I wanted to date a tall guy. And I was like, well, that's not enough. You
Yeah,
got to say, tall guy, great. But you got to say, what is his heart like? What does he look like? What does he drive? Where does he live? Does he have kids? All of the things specifically, or you're just going to get some tall dude and you're
yeah,
not going to know that it's the right thing.
yeah,
So, and it's same thing with my dreams. I was like, well, I always wanted to be in TV. Oh, no, no. I had to get nitty gritty and say, I'm going to be on an HGTV show. That show is going to allow me to showcase my DIY talents. And I'm not going to become someone I'm not because I need to fit a role. I'm going to go into a TV show where I am a DIYer and not anything I'm not. I am going to wear something that is fun and shows people the color of life. I am going to have blonde hair, because I always do. I am
yeah,
going to have my hair pulled back because I'm a worker. I'm going to, tell jokes because I'm funny. I mean, I was so specific in knowing what I wanted to see in
wow,
myself. And I was like, and I mean, I wrote it all down and I wrote it down and I wrote it down for years, Haley. I have been writing this specific dream down, and then it didn't happen until I got nitty gritty
yeah,
down to like, I'm going to make a phone call to one person that I know in television, and she does television shows like this one. So I'm going to ask her what she thinks I should do. And that's going to be a step. And then from that conversation, I'm going to feel inspired. And I mean, when you're talking about it with your children and you're giving them steps to do something, you're being so specific. You're not just saying, go
mhm,
get your you're saying go upstairs to your closet, get your polka dot shirt, and get your blue pants and come downstairs.
yeah,
That's how we need to continue the conversation with ourselves and
yeah,
with the people around us is get specific. What do you need with your spouse? You have to be specific. You can't say, you're making me feel lonely. No, you're making me feel lonely. And what would really help with it is if when you're done with the race, if you call me and you
mhm,
just say that I'm done and I'll call you in 10 minutes, that would help me, right? These are specific asks for ourselves and for our lives, and
mhm,
they're specific asks for our needs. And that way we're getting what we need from our lives. But instead, we just go around this general flow of, listen, I don't feel good about our relationship, or I don't know, this friend made me mad. Get
yeah,
specific with them. Tell them why you felt that way. It's the only way we're all going to develop and get better. So
yeah.
manifestation moves in so many ways in our lives, and asking what we need in so many ways. So it's everywhere in your life. It's an umbrella.
I think that you are saying a lot of things about, what it takes and what you're saying is really knowing yourself. I think a lot
Hmm.
of people, like, even in communication
Right.
with your spouse, you're like, you make me feel lonely." Like, but what is the depths of that? And
Hmm.
so something that my producer actually talks about, she does that edits this, Joelle, she talks about how she has, like, a formal business meeting with God, and she sits down and, like,
Interesting.
really over prayer and just sort of having that time where she's like, "This is intentionally, like, God, what do I want?" And, like, listen, kind of really understanding herself and understanding what it is she wants to then manifest. And so, I think that something that helped me when I was writing these down is really just like, we're so busy and going, going, going all the time in our brains, and, like, my Encanto house brain is like 500 arms, it's like I had to sit down, really take a second to just, like, breathe and envision it, like, see it in my
Mhm.
eyes, what it would be, and then write it down,
Yeah.
and I feel like, what can it hurt? What
Sure. What a gift too for people to realize they can picture themselves in the situations we just don't, right? It's like,
Yeah,
how could I picture myself so big and so successful and so
mm,
great in that space? How do I do that? Do
yeah,
I believe in myself enough to even picture that? And it's just
yeah,
about saying, like, if you feel like anything can be yours, like there's nothing too big for anyone. But just, I love hearing that you're able to like close your eyes and picture yourself in that space of saying, I belong there,
mhm,
can do that, and nothing is too big for me. I'm gonna get there.
yeah,
So keep doing that, keep visualizing it, and teaching your kids too. Like, I
yeah,
remember in baseball, my son was like 8 years old, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna hit the ball," and it was nervous going up to bat, and I said, just picture your eyes for a second and picture yourself hitting the ball. What did it feel like?
Yeah.
And to teach our kids to be able to see it, that chokes me up, sorry. To picture our kids to, like, see themselves doing things, that's the beginning stages of teaching them that, talk to God, talk to yourself, talk to each other in private, and have moments where you're really considering what could my life look like instead of just waiting for something to, like, land in your hand and then being like, "Good enough,
Right.
good enough."
Right. And
Yeah.
and then envisioning all this, and then what are your proactive ways of pursuing it? Like what
Hmm,
I guess it depends on what it is,
sure.
but there's also, you can't sit on your hands and just go, "Okay, I wrote it down." But, now it's taking that step of
Yep.
um not being afraid to fail, like you say, like it's
Mhm.
that creativity of, "Oh, I'm going to keep on trying. I'm not going to,
Sure.
you know, say that cuz it wasn't perfect the first time,
Yep.
I shouldn't try again."
Yep.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you know what, like, a flow chart is? I'm sure you've seen a flow chart in work or, like, where someone
Yeah.
writes down, like, "If this happens, then this," or,
Right.
"If this happens, then this." I think sometimes with what I particularly drew out for my steps to get here to where I wanted to start this journey, I knew I had to call a certain person and get a call with them. I knew I had to meet a certain person. I knew I had to hear a certain, moment. It was like you have to draw out each step, like you're
Yeah.
saying. It's not just I'm gonna be this. Well, what are you gonna do to get there? Take what would that one action item be? And honestly, I think that the most proactive thing I do in my life is again who I'm surrounding myself with.
Mhm.
Listen, you think Wendy Venturini is telling me that I can't do stuff? Oh no, no, no.
Right.
Oh no, no, no. Like you've got to be around people that are watering your flowers and saying, "Yeah, go ahead, do it. Go
Mhm.
ahead, try it. What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen?" Instead of thinking about
Right.
that, right? Like, what's the best that could happen if you call that person? So I just definitely feel like once I started to surround myself with those type of people, that was my biggest step for me. And I was like,
I
yeah,
love what you just said. What's the best that could happen?
yeah,
Because, like, I just a second ago, I'm like, What's the worst that could happen?" I
yeah,
don't even know why that's the expression naturally, I think, but I
sure.
love what you said. What's the best that could happen?
Yeah. And
I
a good
mean,
friend taught me that years ago when I
yeah,
first started this journey. And he said, you sit there and you talk about all these things you're doing and what might happen. And he said, what's the best thing that's going to happen? And I said, the best thing that's going to happen is I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to be on HGTV. And he said, okay. And then that's the best
yeah,
thing. That's what's going to happen.
yeah,
And honestly, like, switching that mindset and the words you use are so important with
right.
how you're talking to yourself. Like, if you wouldn't say that to your best friend, don't say it to yourself,
Oh, so true. So true.
right? Like, I would never tell my best friend, maybe you just should shrink yourself a little bit. That's a pretty ambitious goal.
Yeah.
I would be like, all right, girl, what are we doing?
Right. I'd be like, "I'm
You
a
coming?
sucky friend." If I had
Right.
thought that, like,
No.
you would never be that kind of friend, and so why do we have a tendency to speak that way to ourselves? And
Right.
yes, I
And
do.
our kids hear that. Our kids hear ourselves
Yeah.
talking to ourselves. Like, talk to yourself, let your kids hear that.
Yeah.
I've never stood in front of a mirror and been like, "I look fat." I would never say that in front of my kid, right? I would never you don't want them to hear you talking
Mhm.
about the things that you've gotta teach them the same type of verbiage and the same type
Yeah.
of conversations that you're having with your friends, have those in front of them. My friends see like, they sit there and we'll have conversations in front of my daughter, and I always tell her, I'm like, "You see now the type of friendships that I pray you find."
Oh, that's
Find
so
girls like
sweet.
this,
Yeah.
find relationships like this because all of those other people, they're not gonna matter. If they're not talking to you the way that these
Mhm.
girls talk to me and I talk to them, they're not you don't need them. Get them
Yeah.
out.
And,
Pluck them.
my circle, I think it's okay to have kind of a small circle, but it's
Yeah,
intentional, and those girls, they fan my flame, they
love
don't
that.
want to ever extinguish my light, and you can tell when sometimes people just suck the air out of a room, and it's just like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm aware that that's what environment that's going to be, and
sure.
I'm not going to try to put myself in that. Sometimes we
Yeah,
can't ignore certain dynamics or situations that we're put into,
yep.
but yeah, I think intentionality with your friendships and your relationships and your words. Something that my mom always did with me that I try to do with my daughter is she would sort of subliminal messaging. She would always be like, "I'm so glad that we get along so well. I'm so glad that we never fight like
Mhm.
that." And so Like, because of course, like every teenage daughter, I would see so many
Yeah.
of my friends that would just be like hating their parents. And I don't know. I mean, my parents are the first people I call with everything. I mean, if I was going to go on a vacation, I'm like, Mom, what are you doing these
Hi,
dates?
mom. Yeah,
So I think
they're your biggest fans.
yeah, yeah. Our words are so powerful. I love
So powerful.
yeah.
And I love what you said about small circle. I'm like, my group is small but mighty. I
Yeah.
have more power in my 5 friends that I choose to keep than I had in 100 girlfriends or trips where we'd go on trips with 20 girls.
Mhm.
No, my group is on my
I know.
hand what I have, and that makes me also allow to give myself the right way, right? And so much we think of it as our friends being like surrounding ourselves with good people. It's also allowing me to give the right parts of me and in a way that still fills my cup and doesn't make me feel drained,
Yeah.
right? I'm not giving myself to 20 people in little ways, I'm giving myself big to 5 people.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
love that for myself because then I can see what I'm really good at, and when someone needs me to come over and fix something, it's one of my 5 friends, I'll be right there.
Yeah.
But if I had 20 of those calls, I'd be running around town all day fixing things. So,
Right.
it's like you can really pour what you do and what you love into these smaller groups as opposed to trying to stretch yourself thin
Totally.
because that can kill you. That can
Yes.
drain.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, what with the show, what has been something you've talked about with what you do, you are truly a builder. I mean, you have made cabinetry, all these things that you've done. I'm like, wow, I don't even know where to begin with how she's doing that, but you are a true DIYer. And
Sure.
what has that been like? Because, we've talked about this being this like you're a woman in some okay, so first of all, I will edit this and cut this. I want to make sure.
No, it's okay.
And any of this too. I'll get this edited and
You're
I'll send it
fine.
to you if you're like, I don't want to have said that. That was not what I.
No, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine.
But just so that I'm making sure I'm kind of, like, getting this
Yeah,
out there because we had texted about it or
yeah.
messaged about it. Do you want me to bring any of this up? This sort of, like,
What? Yeah,
male-dominated,
of
and
course.
then you're cool with that?
Absolutely. It's funny, I wrote down notes because I was like, yeah, there's a lot of like conversation that I'm having right now about this exact topic
Mhm.
that is coming up so much. And it's like you'll be asked for like this exact conversation. And I'm like, I have to be in line with understanding that every word I'm saying matters to people when it comes to this topic.
Yeah,
Like, I can't flip the script and say it wrong or whatever, but it's funny, the most important part about when they were like, "Oh, you're the first female builder, what does that feel like?" It's like, in my heart, I kept thinking to myself, "It's not that I'm the first, I just don't wanna be the last."
yeah, yeah,
Right? Like, I don't want a world where we have to gender identify roles because the only gender identifying role I've ever had is, like, I was a mom, and
right,
that was something that my body and mind did as a female, but anything else in my world, it's not. I don't want little girls watching the show to be so caught up in thinking like, "Oh, I can break in there?" No, it's already there. It's just a
right,
space,
right,
and we've identified it with a gender, but we don't need to. It's
right.
just a space,
Mhm.
and I happen to be here, and if that inspires you, great. I have on my mission, like, on my vision board again, manifesting, that I was going to have a book, and one day a little girl was gonna come up to the table, and she would be this little girl around 8 years old, and she would say to me, "I wanna be a builder because of you. I wanna be what you're doing. I know I can do it because you did it, and not because you're a girl and I'm a girl, but because I just realized that there was an option for that at all." And that's
Right.
just like a space, right, that we just, like, create, and I think a lot of that is, like, we're not giving ourselves permission to speak that way to
Mhm.
little girls or kids or anywhere. It's like we're leading that conversation with it being gender identified and saying, "Oh, she's a girl. She's doing something in a male-dominated world." Well, it's male-dominated because 'cause we're allowing that conversation,
Yeah,
right? Like, why is an artist does it have to be male or female? No. Why can't we just be a builder? Why can't we just be a carpenter? And I appreciate you, and I respect that you respect the fact that it is a conversation that I'm having all the time right now.
yeah,
Navigating that is so it's like this, you're like, "Did I say the right thing? Did I not say the right thing?"
right,
I have a daughter, and all I know is I want her to always be around people that inspire her, whatever that looks like, however that needs to be, right? You have girls, like, it's so important that they're just seeing people do and live out something inside of them. So,
right.
It's a big conversation right now, huge conversation. I mean, I had a really hard time with last week's episode where they showed all the guys gathering around talking shop and,
Right.
talking that conversation, and it was all the
Mhm.
guys talking about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I understand, like, things happen and people gather and conversations are had on camera," but it made me feel really all of a sudden like we took a couple steps back from what that show was, and that was that there was 4 builders and 4 designers.
Mhm.
And in that moment, there was 3 builders, and I thought that sent a really big message to maybe little girls who have been tuning in all week and saying, "Oh," and I had a couple messages like, "Well, where was Shannon?
Yeah. Why was she
Shannon,
not included
where's
in that
Shannon in that?"
dynamic?
So, yeah, it's about answering that question for our kids as well and having that conversation when you watch the show with your daughter.
Mhm.
How are you speaking to her in a way that's allowing her to see, "Hey, there's someone you can be just like."
Mhm.
And, what does that look like? And how do you want that to sound to her?
Yeah.
Because the more we put up these barriers that I suddenly had to overcome, the more likely that they're not gonna make that first step if they don't hear the right thing, or they
Right.
might not break through a barrier that is there that it's gonna exist. We're always gonna have those barriers. So
Right.
it's a tough conversation right now for me because I'm like, "Man, I wanna get it right, but I'm gonna fall short of that."
No, you're not.
I'm
I
gonna
think
be
it's amazing. I think that what you're saying is, I mean, even just talking about it, even just being able to say, "Hey, I probably should have been included in that little montage of,
Sure.
talking shop," I think is okay to say and
Sure.
sort of stand up for that of like, "Hey, I
Just be
should
aware.
probably have been there,
Yeah.
and I have value in that and input in that as well."
Yep.
And, um, that's what I do. And so I think it is so cool that you are the only women team and
Right? First one, first female. I mean, I know it's the 2nd season, I give it more hype, but it's still the first female team. There's a lot of messages I'm getting that are like, "Wow,
yeah.
wow." And I'm like, "That's exactly what we need, is
Yes.
more people that look like you and I."
Yeah.
Literally.
More
Like, you're
people that wear pink.
you too can wear pink shirts and have blonde
You
hair.
too can wear pink and have blonde hair. So do you think that this is just the start? Do you think that there will be more to come from you on HGTV or on TV in general and doing some home improvement?
Absolutely, because I 'cause I'm gonna make sure that that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here to stay. I
Yes.
think it's, when you collide your passion and your purpose and it feels right and you realize I think even last night I was saying I had the most messages last night than I've had since the show started, and some like, just the inspiration that you're able to spread, and you realize, like, "Oh, yeah, that's my purpose," right?
Mhm.
Like, obviously God gives us all gifts and sometimes we find them and sometimes we don't. And sometimes we can inspire people and sometimes it takes, whatever it might be that your purpose is. But I do believe that I have a really big purpose here on earth.
Yeah.
And I think that that is going to guide me like very small steps at a time. I don't think that I'm done. I know I'm not done. Um, and I want to change the narrative. I want to change the world. I want to see more people in the trades. I want it to be a normal conversation. I want them to bring shop back to high school.
Oh,
I want to build schools that have these type of programs that people are using their hands and I know the future is different, but everybody should know how to do certain things. I don't like that people are so empowered, less empowered, excuse me, to pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, something broke. I need to call someone to do that."
right.
No, you can do that. That's not
Yeah.
that big of but, I think projects aren't it's not the project that's the hard part, it's people being confident enough to take that step and try it,
Right.
and instead people just are so quick to instant gratification,
Higher.
call someone and fix it, right? And it's just
Mhm.
like, "Try it, it's not that scary." And
Yes.
what's the best that could happen? You end up with this beautiful room that you can say, "I did. I made this
Exactly.
room one day."
Yeah.
So, I'm not done.
One thing
I got
Ty
more
always
planes
is
to
like
fly.
Ty's always like, I'll go to YouTube University and see if I can figure out how to do it, anytime he's
Good for him.
yeah. And I do as well, but
Mm.
oftentimes for different things, like, how do I paint a cowboy or whatever, Um,
How do I raise a child?
yeah, yeah. Is this normal? Like, what? Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, no, that is, I feel that for you, that this is just the first, I mean, you've done so much leading up to your life now today, but I feel like this is just the beginning of
Yeah.
much more to come on your journey with being on TV and being able to spread that light and talk about, all of your abilities and encourage other women and young girls to
Yeah,
chase that. So it's very
we will.
cool. And I know in this last episode, you did talk about a bit about losing your sister. I don't know if
Yes.
you're like, okay, I probably talked about
No,
it.
no, it's okay.
But I think that that was really beautiful. And it's one of those things, like you said, you talked about probably so much more than what was shown.
Hours.
Yeah.
Hours. I
Yeah.
mean, it was hours of that. There was a part at the end of the show where they were like, "We didn't get enough. I know we're done filming and we just finished the finale, but we need you to come back for about an hour of interviews where we want you to talk more about her, just in case we need more."
Yeah.
Because they don't know what they're gonna use, and it's like having to bring that up at the end was really tough for me, but, I mean, I was there on that day, and it's like, how do you navigate, being on film and transforming into, filming Haley and filming
Mhm.
Shannon,
Mhm.
but at the same time having this grief or, anything that's going on in your life that big and trying to push that down,
Mhm.
but then sometimes it comes up, right? Like, sometimes grief just comes up and you're like, "Okay, I've gotta handle it here. I've gotta talk about it. If I don't, it's gonna just keep compacting and it's gonna blow." We
Right.
can't do
Right.
that. So, unfortunately, life didn't stop. Feelings didn't stop. Grief didn't stop. It was still happening.
Mhm.
Um, it was luckily being surrounded again, choosing the people around you. Melissa, I couldn't have asked for a better person to stand there. She was also going through tremendous grief with her cousin. So it was
Right.
almost like we were both meant to do that together and to walk through that journey of this has to be a moment where we grow for them. This
Mhm.
has to be something we give them and honor them and saying, and she always said, like, if my cousin can't be here, then damn it if I'm not gonna live the way that unfortunately got taken from him, right? Like, we're still here. We
Yes.
still have to live big and we still have to do the things we wanna do, and we just have to somehow exist without people that were that important to us. It's tough.
Right.
It's really, really tough, but I went through it and here to tell the tale, but,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a tough episode to watch, and you can again, you see this much of it, right? You don't see the times that I might have broken down on camera, and they didn't show that, thank God, right? Or the moments that that grief would stir up in a certain situation, and I would be like, "Okay, hold on, we're not done with the scene," like or it
Yeah.
would come up, and I wouldn't realize it was coming up in other ways,
Yeah.
and I was like, "I don't think I'm actually upset about this, I think this is something to do with, like, maybe recognizing I couldn't call her after a scene and say, 'Hey,
Right.
you've got it this scene was so amazing, you're gonna be so proud.'" That's hard. That's hard
Yeah.
stuff to, like, walk through when you're filming.
Ugh,
Yeah.
it is hard to compartmentalize. You're doing something that's, okay, I'm putting on my worker hat, and then but our lives are meshed and interesting, and so I think it
Mhm.
but I think it was really beautiful. I loved hearing you talk about your sister, and
Mhm.
it's real, and that's hard, and people go through hard things, and to be able to see you kind of working through that, and then sort of living for her and doing this beautiful thing, and she'd be so proud of you, and she is answering your call,
Yeah.
afterwards. She is there saying, those rooms look awesome. Those
Yeah.
that flipping TV is crazy." And
I can't believe we did that. That was crazy.
that was crazy. And what I mean by flipping TV is, like, literally a TV that flipped into the room, had to be hidden,
Right?
and then came out.
I mean, I thought when they said we have to hide our TV, I took that pretty far. I
You
took that
guys
just
took
where
it
I
the
thought I
most
was supposed to take
literal.
it.
Yeah. You
I was like, "Oh,
filmed
you
it.
meant like a picture? You meant just like a picture over it? My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. There's a remote sitting right there. I'm sorry."
There are some moments with the hosts that I'm like, "All right." I
Yeah.
mean, they're great, and I'm sure I'm just teasing, but I'm like, when he's like, "This could be a liability," I was
Like,
like, "Whatever, buddy. It's freaking cool, okay?
whatever,
Watch
brother.
out."
It's funny because him and I are friends, and we're doing some stuff together now, which is interesting. Because I literally texted him that night, and I was like, "You're a jerk." I was like, "Why would you do that?" And it's like, he always reminds me, he's like, "This is just TV. Like,
Yeah.
we have to be able to say something negative about every space and something positive. So when you're digging for something, can you imagine having to live life where you're like, I have to look for the bad in everything?
I
So
know.
it's like, I have to find something to say so that I can go against
Criticism.
Scott, who loved it, right? Like, we can't both have the same opinion.
Yeah,
And
isn't
it's
that
funny,
funny?
like, I was
We're still doing that, like, we still need this good cop, bad cop, but I get it, I get it, but because what it does is it makes the viewer go, "What? It's
I'm with him.
fine, that's ridiculous," you
Yeah,
know,
I'm with
or
him, or they need an ally. They
yeah,
need to, like, follow someone. I was telling Melissa that, I said, "The whole time during the show, you hear 2 voices at the end of every episode. You hear Scott and Brian telling you if it was good or not.
yeah,
That's it. You don't hear your friends, you don't hear the millions of people sending us messages now, you don't hear
yeah,
the millions of comments, right?
you're
You
the one.
only hear 2 voices."
Yeah,
And that was it. And so your whole world, I remember going up to Brian and just bawling at the end of one of the fire pit scenes, and I was like, "I don't belong here, you hate everything." And he's like, "Calm down, it's TV." Like, literally, I think he literally put his hand and he was like, "Stop boogering up my shirt, calm
yeah.
down. It's TV."
My
So,
god.
like, you forget, like, you're like, "Oh, right, I'm sorry, this is my reality, so I forgot it's not real."
Yeah,
My bad,
yeah.
my
"Oh, I
bad.
forgot this is for editing."
I'm sorry, I totally forgot you just had to say that for camera. Okay.
Yeah,
And here I am, like, taking it literal. I'm like,
yeah.
"I didn't mean to mess up." He's like, "You didn't mess up, we had to say something, calm down."
It's all show business, baby.
Smoke and mirrors,
That's
smoke and mirrors,
showbiz. Well,
smoke and
Shannon,
mirrors.
thank you so much. I cannot wait to see the rest.
So make sure you tune in and let's get to your house. Let's get some wallpaper up. Let's get some
You
snazzy
are gonna come
design
into my
behind you.
Melissa is not invited. She's gonna be like, "Your house is so boring."
No, she won't. That's the best part. She'll be like, "I love what you feel. I love what you're saying, and let me make it come to life
I
like
know.
this," because she is so damn brilliant that
Yeah.
you want her there.
Yes.
Yeah, because 'cause I'm not a designer. Let's be clear.
No, yes, you are. I mean, you clearly have so much vision. Like, it's really fun watching you guys work together,
Good. I'm
and
glad it's entertaining.
y it is. I really love it. It's been one of my favorite shows that I've seen. The concept
Oh.
of it is really cool. It's really
Yeah,
fun. I really want to go rent one of these houses. I mean, I wish they did this on, like, Lake Norman somewhere. It would
we
be
can. If you're interested, we can do that. We can make that next season happen.
let's
Let's do
do
it. Lake
it.
Norman. We're coming, Lake Norman.
Yeah,
Whoever's in charge of Lake Norman, we're coming.
that would be insane if we could
I
do
know.
something like that. I mean, I would be these houses are probably fully booked out now. Oh, I didn't even think about that. You probably can
Yeah.
go and look and see what they look like.
Yeah, he actually started booking them as Airbnbs and then sold them. So people actually bought them as they were from the show. They ended up turning it
Yeah.
into, like, a community,
Yeah.
and there's, like, thousands of houses, and you'll see, like, in the last episode, like, the community centers that we put in, and
No
it's
way.
pretty wild. I mean, it's smart, and it's right on the water. It's like, let's do it again. So,
And did
yeah.
you really only get 1 week per
Yeah.
room?
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. I mean, I know I said the, like, countdown timer and everything, but I just didn't know if it actually was just 1 week. I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
how you are getting done. I thought for sure you would say, "No, it's actually 3 weeks per thing," or something.
No, we were there every day, sun up to sundown
Oh my
on
gosh.
camera. Some days it was a lot, some days it was easier, and then we would
Did they
get
let
pulled
you
away for interviews.
did
So,
they
like,
let
let's
you
say we
work?
left for interviews, yeah, they would have, like, a worker come in and say, "Okay, Shannon and Melissa are going to interviews for 2 hours. We need you to come in and finish the tile that they were doing."
Okay.
Like, they would always have someone work. The houses
Yeah.
never slept.
My
Even when
gosh.
we went home for 5 days, we got to leave. We came back and they were sided. We were like,
Wow.
"Oh, okay."
Well, that's what I
I
was
mean,
wondering, like, even through the night, because you know how it is when you're doing a real project, like, did you guys get to work when the cameras weren't on?
a couple times, yeah, I
Yeah.
posted a couple things, like, saying that they did let us go for a couple hours, and we would go and it would be more time for us to, like, really get into the nitty-gritty of, like, I would get really crazy about my corners or whatever it would be, and it was more time to, like, actually, like, take a breath
Yeah.
because the camera wasn't like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Are you messing up on here?" Like, it
Yeah.
gave you a moment of being like,
Yeah.
"No microphone, no camera."
When doing what you enjoy, which is like, you're grouting tile or something, but you just want some
Sure.
music to play in the background. Like, that's
Yeah,
gotta be such a different style than
totally different vibe,
yeah.
totally different vibe,
'Cause
so,
it's
yeah,
like,
there was times for that
you're
too,
all
thank God.
about doing this, but you're like, wanna listen to a podcast in the
Right.
background, not have people going, "Are you messing up? What are you doing wrong?" Yeah.
Right. It's like any profession. Imagine doing it under a microscope every day for a camera. Of
Yeah.
course you're gonna do it differently, and you're gonna have to stop. "Oh, can you do that again? Oh, can you paint that again? Can
Yeah.
you go back and explain what you just said again?" And, like, 90% of it's not you, so I'm like, where's all this great footage that we took?"
Right. Wow. Well, I'm so excited to watch the rest. I'm so
Thank
curious to
you.
see who wins. And I think you guys are all, I mean, they're all turning out really cool. They're all so different. And I, I absolutely am obsessed with the stuff you guys are doing. So I can't
Good.
wait to see.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for being on that plane that day because I think I met someone that definitely belongs in our
Yes.
circle of friends, and you're just such a great person, and
Oh,
you're a sweetheart. You're just such a kind person, and I'm honored that we're doing this because
yeah.
anywhere I get to share my voice alongside you, that's an honor. So
Oh my god. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone,
thank you.
give us the pitch. What is it? Tuesdays at 9.
Renovation Resort Showdown, Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. on HGTV.
Okay.
Renovation Resort Showdown, 9 p.m. HGTV every Tuesday night.
Yes, and catch up. Binge the
Yeah.
whole thing, and then
Yes, yes. And then message me, follow me because I need to hear what people are thinking.
yeah, definitely.
It's really fun to hear from everybody, so
Yeah.
thank you. We'll talk for sure.
Okay, thank you so much for
Okay.
doing this. I'll see you
Oh, no
later.
problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.